guys, Action Fear Addict 112 here, and we are going to be taking a look at the MAFEX Into the Spiderverse Peter B. Parker. So I need to give a big thank you to Hot Cheeto Fingers for giving me that little push to decide to actually pick this guy up, because I was actually going to stick it out with the Marvel Legends one, and then see whenever I got my Sentinel Miles in, and mess around with him and see how the quality was with him. If Sentinel Toys decided to do a Peter B. Parker, that maybe I would consider getting that one. But unfortunately, it's been almost 5 months and I have yet to get a fucking call from GameStop as to when I can go pick up my Miles. So everyone else that I've seen that has pre-ordered him from GameStop has already gotten him. So I just want to give a big fuck you to GameStop.
Hey, fuck you, man!
For, delaying my shit. Even though, I've been patiently waiting and have him almost completely paid off, that they have yet to, give me the figure that I paid for. So, but with that being said, let's focus back on Peter B. Parker. So, I am a huge fan of Spider-Man. Spider-Man's one of my favorite characters from the entire Marvel universe. Him and Cap are two of my favorites, and growing up, Tobey was my Spider-Man, and he'll always be my Spider-Man. And I will always be a fan of the Sam Raimi movies because they're the most true to the Spider-Man character, and I don't care if you say they're corny as fuck, I still love them, and they're as accurate as we've gotten to Spider-Man from page to movie form. The only thing that's been closest to this has been the PS4 Spider-Man game, which was also brilliantly done as well, and I'm actually working on trying to track down the figure arts version of that PS4 suit, because I fucking love that suit so much. So yeah. But I was also a huge fan of Into the Spiderverse. It was very well written. The cinematics were absolutely gorgeous with the way that they blended the comic book style into the movie. The writing, the voice acting, the character development, and the arcs between each character were just so well written, especially with Peter B. Parker, that I couldn't help but fall in love with the characters. And yeah, so I did end up picking up the Hasbro one. It's not a horrible figure, but the MAFEX version is definitely better in a lot of ways, and that's why I'm deciding to review him, because I've been wanting to sit down and talk about him for a while, but life has just kind of taken over, and haven't really been able to sit down and talk about him. But now that I have some free time to do so, I'll be sitting down and talking about him. So yeah. So if you saw the movie, this has kind of been referred to as the midlife crisis Spider-Man. But to me, this is to me, it feels like this is supposed to be Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. Which, if that's the case, then that's fucking awesome, because I believe, if I read somewhere correctly, he was actually supposed to voice Peter B. Parker originally. But something happened between him and Sony, and they weren't able to work out a deal, and so they ended up casting the role to someone else, which kind of sucks, because I feel like Tobey would have definitely killed the role of Peter B. Parker. just because, again, Toby is my Spider-Man, so I think it would have been really cool. But I do kind of think it's cool that, you have you kind of get to see, the effects of Spider-Man taking a toll on Peter Parker, and how you see that with great power comes great responsibility. That Uncle Ben drilled into Peter's mind is slowly, taking over him. You know what I mean? He splits from MJ. He loses Aunt May. He can't pay his bills. He divorces MJ. You know what I mean? He gets hurt being Spider-Man, and he ends up becoming depressed. And I know it's not really that obvious in the movie, but you can tell that this version of the version of Peter Parker that we're familiar with is kind of at the end of his rope here.
You look tired, Peter. Well, I am tired.
You know what I mean? That's why at the end of the movie he's willing to sacrifice himself, because he doesn't have anything that's worth living for. And it's like, that's really deep to think about. And Miles ends up helping him kind of work his way through, and tells him that things are going to be okay. And I really love at the end of the movie, he's like, what if things don't work out? And Miles tells him it's a leap of faith, and then he falls into the little swirling portal and gets sent back to his dimension. So I think that's fucking awesome. Again, that full character, it starts and you see the full circle of that arc. So I love that. But anyway, I'm gonna stop rambling and get into the paint, sculpt, accessories, articulation, compare him with the Marvel one, and show you some comparisons between another Spider-Man figure that I have that is waiting to get reviewed. And of course, we need to see him next to Mary Jane Watson. So with that being said, let's get into this review. Okay, so we're going to be taking a look at Peter B. Parker. So I'm not going to be doing anything super fancy. I'm just going to do this as a sit down review, because it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, and yeah, I've been wanting to talk about this dude. So yeah, plus you guys already know how it is, with my reviews anyway. So but I do want to talk about the paint and the sculpt first. So in terms of the paint, I am fairly impressed with MAFEX, as their quality control is getting a lot better. Reason I say this is because the last MAFEX figure I bought, which was the last one I bought, I think it was the MAFEX Gwenpool. Her paint was almost perfect. There was just very few areas where either it was bleeding or it was sloppy. Here the paint is perfect, which makes me happy, because MAFEX is starting to raise their prices on their figures. So if that's the case, the paint quality definitely needs to be at pretty high quality. But as you can see here, this hair is really nicely painted, eyes are really nicely painted, the hair is really nicely, the eyebrows look really nice too, the 5 o'clock shadow looks good, and then the paint on the suit is really nice too. I know it's hard to see right now because of the the trench coat, but as you can see, the blue right there is really nicely done, the red, and even the little spider symbol looks really good too. Then you go down to his shoes, or I should say his shoe, and then his boot are just really nicely done too. I mean, you can even see the little holes where the laces would run through. Really nicely done. It's really nicely done. And then even the sculpt is really nicely done too. I mean, this is as accurate as we're gonna get. I mean, I know Sentinel is putting out their Peter B. Parker, but to me, this is as accurate as it's gonna get. So I'm really happy with the way this turned out. I mean, they got it right, man. They got it right. Just looks really good. And well, we'll talk about that with his accessories, because technically these clothes are an accessory. But I mean, look at the shoes. That way the chucks are really nicely done. Then you look at the bottom, look. They didn't even need to, but they sculpted it. And I appreciate that. So I'm gonna leave them here, and then I'm gonna bring in Hasbro's attempt, which which is like day and night. You know what I mean? Again, this, you know, there's obviously the price difference with, you know, $20 and, you know, 60 to 70 now, 70 plus I should say, since import figure prices are starting to go up for some particular fucking reason, which is weird because they used to be like $40 to like $50, and now they're like 70 plus. I'm like, not really feeling that. But I mean, like, look at the difference between the two. It's like this one here looks cracked out as fuck, man. He looks like the homeless dude that he looks like a drunk guy who cosplayed as Spider-Man on Halloween, going to McDonald's at like 2 in the morning, banging on the door and shit. Hey man, can I get some food? Like, oh my god. I mean, this one isn't bad. Don't get me wrong. Like, this isn't bad. It's pretty close, but like this one is like spot on. You know what I mean? So, you know, I just think it's fucking hilarious that it's like his eyes look so fucking cracked out compared to here. But yeah, you can definitely tell there's a difference between the two. You know, the symbols are different. The sculpt is different for how they handled his dad bod, or his midlife crisis body, and his hair is all different and stuff too. But it's not a bad figure. I will say I'm surprised how Hasbro decided to release that, because surprisingly he was the best figure personally out of the whole fucking wave. Besides Miles, him and Miles were the two best figures. The Gwen was but him and Miles were just the two best. And real quick, I will say, this figure here was actually sculpted by MAFEX, and I highly recommend you check him out on Instagram. He was one of the people that was working on the last leg of the DC Multiverse stuff before Mattel decided to let him and many of the other creative people who were putting out that great shit for the DC Multiverse line, they let him go, and he ended up doing some stuff for Hasbro, and this is one of the figures he did. He also did he sculpted the 90s Havoc that came in the Polaris pack. He sculpted the heads for the Cyclops that came in the 3-pack with him Jean and Logan, and he also sculpted some other stuff, so I highly recommend you check him out. Very, very unbelievably talented individual he is. So just wanted to point that out. So bringing him back in, and then talking about his sculpt, it's phenomenal. I mean, his hair, how he has a little swoosh, and he has a little kind of Superman thing going on with his hair, where it's that little piece is hanging down. And then I also like this, you see a little kind of ribbing texture that's on there. I love that because we never get that shit with Spider-Man figures. I love that they did that. It's so beautifully done. And then the etching, where the embossing of the align work on the suit is really nice too. Like the way that looks. Even on the hands too. Like, look at that shit, man. So nice. So fucking nice. Just, I love it. I love it, man. I love it. So I'm gonna set him back here. Because this dude, well, because we covered the paint and the sculpt, we're gonna cover accessories now. Because this dude comes with a lot of accessories. So because of that, I think I'm going to tackle the heads that he comes with first. So he comes with two different neck pieces. He comes with the one where it's like it only runs up to his neck. And here you get the full neck, so you can swap in between the two. So here you can see you have the Spider-Man mask all the way up. See his eyes are those like big bug eyes that, you know, we're so familiar with Spider-Man. You can see that. So he has that expression. He has this kind of annoyed expression right there. I love how like comic-y or like cartoony the eyes look. It's fucking awesome, man. And then you can see that texture is also on the masks too. I love that. And then we get this. Which is fucking awesome. It's like a way better version of the one that we got with the Hasbro version. We actually got a head very similar to this, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. You can see his hair's kind of poking out there, and I love this because this would be like the, you know, he's getting ready to suit up, and you know, Mary Jane is trying to, you know, he's sitting there and he's deciding whether or not, you know, he should go do his responsibilities of Spider-Man, or if he should, you know, do his responsibilities as Peter Parker, you know. And I love that. I wish we would get more heads like this with Spider-Man figures, but we don't, unfortunately. We don't, which kind of sucks, because it's like, this is like a perfect fucking head to give Spider-Man figures, but anyway, I guess not. So, the fuck is on my hand? I don't even know what the fuck that is. Anyway, let me show you what the, well, actually, no, let me leave him back there. Let me show you what that other head looked like, so you can see the difference between the two. So this is the other head. It was also sculpted by MAFEX. So that one came with the Marvel Legends. Which this is also not a bad sculpt. And I think it's crazy that it's like out of all the Spider-Man figures that we've gotten from Hasbro, like this is the first time they actually decide to give us like this kind of head for Spider-Man. It's like we should be getting this shit across the board. It's like, nah, I don't know, man, but it's really cool. It's a really cool head, and I really like it. And it's weird because I saw him fucking pegworm every fucking Walmart I went to, every Target I went to. He just always pegwormed to the point where it was like, they were marking him and Frogman down to like $3 just to get rid of him. And I'm like, why? Just like, why, man? Why are y'all sleeping on this dude? Alright, let's talk about the legs. So this Peter B. Parker. So if you decide that you don't want him with the trench coat and the sweatpants, you want him to be like actual Spider-Man, you get a set of legs for that. You just pop the lower half of these legs off and you just put these on. So you have that. Just fucking cool. You also get these, which are like, what's it called? Bare feet for him. So if you want like barefoot, from that one scene with him, whenever him and Miles were trying to steal the, what's it called, from Alchemex. If you want to recreate that, where he had no shoes, you can do that. And then you get these. These are magnetic feet, which you can use that for him if you want him to stick to a surface. I tried it on my lamps here, my LED lamps, and they work really good. I would say if you're gonna try to get them to pose on something, you should definitely try to get them to stand on something like a really strong like sheet of metal or something like that, because it's gonna have to be something real strong for him to be able to stick to. So you get that. And then his hands. Now I'm just gonna sit here and just go through all these hands, because there are just so many fucking hands, like unbelievable amount of hands. So to go with the magnetic hands, you get these hands as well. Or I'm sorry, the magnetic feet. You get these hands. So these are like sprawled out hands. So if you want them to grab the wall or something, you have those. You get a set of these without the magnets. These are like your sticking to the wall or landing hands. You get these kind of hands. These are like when he's midair doing his web thing. Hands, just like waving hands, high five hands, stuff like that. You get there we go. See how I had like a fucking hair on my thing, which is weird because I keep all my shit in baggies, so it must have somehow gotten here. So there you go. You got the whipping hands, which every Spider-Man should come with these fucking hands. There's no excuse. why Spider-Man figures should not come with fucking whipping hands. But anyway, you get whipping hands. You get a set of relaxed hands. Which I think, are these the same hands? No, these are the same hands. So you get a set of relaxing hands. You get these kind of like thumbs up hands. Or technically these are for the webs, but they could also count as thumbs up hands. You get a set of these other kind of gesture hands or relaxing hands. You get a set of fists. And you get this hand here, the coffee mug, which actually has coffee in it. And then you get a set of these hands, which are like holding things hands. As you can see, I have one of them there to hold the soda cup that came with the other Marvel Legends Peter B. Parker, which I love that accessory. It's a cool accessory, but you can also get him to hold this piece of pizza that he comes with, since Peter Parker eats his feelings. So, and that also represents him before he travels to Miles' universe. So, yeah, it's cool. It's like all weirdly shaped and shit, and it's got pepperoni on it, so it's cool. It's cool. So you get that, and then the final accessory that you get is this mask. I feel like all Spider-Man figures should come with this too, or something similar to this she can hold, which is cool. And then we get to the webs. These are pretty much the same webs that all the MAFEX Spider-Man figures have come with. You get these kind of shorter webs that go around the wrists. So you get those. You get these slightly longer ones that go around the wrists. And then you get these two, which you use those kind of thumbs up looking hands for. These are kind of him like mid-swinging webs. So you get all that. It's pretty fucking cool, I would say. And I like that. I like all the accessories that he comes with. It's like, you know, with Hasbro, you just get this. Which, again, it's not bad, but it's like, you know, you get a set of fists. You get a set of flipping hands. And then that's it. There's no sprawled out hands. There's no, you know, anything like that. And it's like, the fuck? And then they give these other characters that don't need that many hands, like 50 bajillion hands, and it's like, the fuck? Why? And it's weird because, you know, they gave him those hands, right? And then they gave him this shit here. And I'm like, why does he have, like, he's not Buzz Lightyear. Like, why does he have karate chopping action? Like, there's no reason why he has, like, this, like, bitch slap / pimp hand. I mean, this one here makes sense because that's to hold the cup, but, like, that's it. Like, you just give him these skin tone hands and you just give him the gloved hands. It's like, why? It's like, it's so fucking weird. Like, I don't know why Hasbro makes these decisions, man. I don't understand it. but yeah, that is essentially it for him. So I am gonna get him in some poses here. I'm gonna do a little jump cut and show you some Spider-Man poses with him, and show you the engineering that MAFEX did for him, because I'm very fucking surprised with the way that they tackle this, because I've been posing him here and there ever since I got him, and I was over here like, holy shit, like he can do this. So yeah, give me 1 second. But yeah, the materials work. The figures, you can see the coat has actually got wiring in it, which is why I don't really like getting him in poses like that, because if you know how wired materials work, the soft goods, is that you know, depending on the company, if you fuck around with the soft goods too much, it'll end up wearing out. You know what I mean? And so you don't want that with your figures. You don't want to, you know, be posing him around too much, and then, you know, one day you want to get him in a pose and the wiring's gone to shit. So, but yeah, man, he's fucking cool. I really dig him a lot. And yeah, it's cool because we don't really get, you know, adult Peter Parker that often. Like, you know, as figures, you know, in movies in general, and it's like, you know what I mean? Like, why? You know, it doesn't make any fucking sense, because it's like, you know, the weird thing that I don't get, and this is not only with figures, but it's like with characters in general. It's like, if they're not some, you know, weird, you know, alien type of superhero or something like that, like at some point characters age, and it's weird that it's like, whenever we got Tom Holland Spider-Man, it's like, why are we doing the high school thing again? It's like, it seems like every time we get a Spider-Man, we always get the whole high school thing, and it's like, why? You know, that's why I love the PS4 Spider-Man game, because it's like, when we see Peter, he's like 23. You know what I mean? He's not in high school anymore. He's graduated high school. He's working with Otto, and it's like, this is perfect. Like, this is adult Peter Parker. It's like, we need to stop doing this high school bullshit. It's like, nah, Peter Parker does not need to be 16 in fucking high school again. It's like, we got that 3 times now. It's like, no, we need to move on from that shit. So anyway, I'm gonna leave that discussion for another day. But anyway, yeah, it's odd. It's like the same thing with Batman too. It's like, why is Batman not age? But anyway, yeah, the articulation is dope, especially with the soft goods thing, and he has the drop down legs and stuff like that too with this figure. So it's probably why his shit is looking really weird right now. There we go. So yeah, think it's dope. So I'm gonna compare him to the other Spider-Man figure. Well, let me show you again in terms of the height between him and the Hasbro version. You can see this one's a little bit shorter. So this one's a little bit taller, but he's a little bit more lankier built. This one looks a little bit better built than this one, but so there's that. Let me show him next to the wow, as he falls over, the Revoltech Amazing Yamaguchi Iron Spider, which I just got, I think yesterday or the day before I got him, so expect his review at some point. But yeah, you know, they seem to be the same height. It's like they should be. You know, they're both adult Spider-Man characters. So yeah, he's pretty cool. I've loved posing him. It seems like now that Kyoto's gotten the joint system worked out with the Revoltech figures, it's like it's perfect. He poses like butter, and I've been getting him in like a shitload of Spider-Man poses. It's like insane. And then here we go. This is him compared to Mary Jane Watson. And I'm so happy that Hasbro decided to release the retro carded wave, because I was able to get that Spider-Man. I was able to get the Gwen Stacy, and I was finally able to kit bash a Mary Jane Watson, because again, they did the whole bullshit with you know, the Toys R Us 2-pack with Spider-Man and MJ, and that was the only way we were able to get MJ. And you know, I ended up doing my own kit bash of using the Jessica Jones body, and I had the retro carded Black Widow head on here for the longest time, and I never had an adult Peter Parker. And now that I do, and now they have this beautifully sculpted Mary Jane Watson head, it's like, this is perfect. I have a grown-ass MJ, and I have a grown-ass Spider-Man to go with her. It's like, this shit is perfect, you know. And look at the scaling too. It's like he's just a tad bit taller than her, but they scale perfectly, and it's like, there we go. So I like that a lot. I was gonna compare him to Gwen, but I don't know where the fuck my Marvel Legends Gwen is. I somehow lost her, and I gave my Miles to a coworker because I knew I was getting the Sentinel Miles, so I no longer have him. So here he is next to, you know, we'll just compare him with some superheroes. So here he is next to the Mezco Wonder Woman, which needs to get reviewed. Here he is next to the NECA Homelander from The Boys. And then here he is next to yours truly, since I have him literally standing right here. So yeah, there you go. So overall, I really like the way that MAFEX handled this Peter B. Parker. Fucking love this figure so much. So fucking well done. It has me excited to get Gwen. I'm hoping they didn't pull some backdoor bullshit with her, and hopefully she's the same quality as this Peter B. Parker, because somehow some way they made her more expensive than him, and he comes with fucking soft goods. So I don't get it at all. But anyway, that's gonna do it for this review. Real quick though, all these figures you see back here are at some point gonna get a review. The probably the next review I'll tackle is either him or the Major, because I got her, and like a couple of days later I got him from Amazon Japan. So yeah, so we're probably gonna tackle that at some point. And then I got some wrestling figures I need to tackle too. So for my people that like my wrestling figure reviews, be prepared, because I got some stuff coming down the pipe. So thank you for being patient with me through this time, and we're getting back on it. So thank you very much. He did come with a MAFEX stand too. I think he came with this one. So yeah, I forgot to mention that with his accessories. But anyway, that's gonna do it for me. Thank you very much for watching, and Action Figure Addict 112 out.